Alright, now that we have covered the most common and efficient tips of overcoming art block, let's move on to a more practical ways of doing it and get started on creating our oil pastel drawing. This is going to be simple and loose drawing, a perfect type of drawing for the moments when you really want to create something but you feel stuck with a creative block. So to begin, I want you to take a deep breath, let go of any expectations or pressure to plan your drawing ahead, and just have fun with it. So we start our drawing by really placing the oil pastels on the paper to define where our flowers will go. Pick a few colors that appeal to you and start making marks on the paper. I've decided to go with soft and tender oil pastels like coral, rose ochre, yellow. I feel like they are perfect for our soft and loose abstract flowers. Oil pastels as a medium are actually a great choice for creating a soft and loose floral drawing too, because they are easy to blend and layer, and they allow to create delicate and fluid shapes that resemble flowers. So you can either use the same color palette or pick the colors you would prefer using in your drawing. As you place oil pastels, make sure to use really light pressure so that there will be enough pigment to color the paper, but not too much. First step is important because it allows you to let go of control and let your creativity flow. I'm just letting my hand move freely and seeing where it takes me. By starting with random placement of color for your future flowers, you are allowing yourself to create without pressure or expectations. This is an effective way to fight art block and let your creativity flow. Once we have placed the first layer of oil pastels to define where our flowers will go, let's now shape them into more recognizable flowers by blending them with white oil pastels. Blending and shaping are important steps because they allow you to create a smooth and flowing look of the flowers. This is crucial for creating a loose and soft floral drawing, which should have a delicate and fluid look. Don't worry about being perfect or creating a specific image. Just let your hand move freely and create organic shapes that represent flowers to you. This step is important because it allows you to create a visual representation of the flowers and it sets the foundation for the rest of the drawing. Using white oil pastel will allow us both make the color softer and also to blend the first oil pastel layers onto the paper. I actually invite you to only use white oil pastels as the only blending tool throughout this class project. This is another effective way to let go of control over your drawing, because when we blend oil pastels by using blending tools or even a finger, it requires more control and attention. On the other hand, by using white oil pastel to blend the underlayers, you will be able to keep your drawing more loose. Now it's time to define a background for our drawing. This will create a contrast with the bright flowers and help them pop. Moreover, it will also make our loose abstract flowers more recognizable. So the background colors are important because they provide a visual contrast for the flowers and help to bring the entire drawing together. So let's start by layering ash blue oil pastel, and then we can also add gray-green here too. Not only these colors will help us add more depth and interest to the background, but they will also complement the yellow and coral of the flowers and give the drawing a sense of movement and depth. As we layer oil pastels, we do it in some sort of chaotic and freehand style too, just like we did it with the first layer of flowers. Same as with flowers, we use light pressure. At this stage, our goal is not to create a finished background, but just to define it, because later we will layer even more oil pastel pigment to it in order to make it look even more complex and deep. At this point we are getting somewhere, but there is still some shaping that needs to be done. So let's jump into this and add more color and oil pastel pigment to our flowers to make them even more recognizable. For that I'm using coral oil pastel, and same as before, I layer it with light pressure and in some kind of swirls, which is actually a scribing oil pastel technique. Try not to overcover the underlayers. We don't want our color to fully block the flowers, we just want it to be an addition to them. Once we finish layering coral oil pastel, we can once again blend it with white oil pastel. We also use white oil pastel to add a layer of light to our flowers. This will help shape and define the flowers and give them more dimension. Adding a layer of white oil pastel is crucial here, because it helps to bring the flowers to life and make them look more realistic. The white oil pastel acts as a highlight, which will help the flowers stand out against the background. Here we can start on layering white oil pastel with more pressure. The more pigment you will manage to layer, as I layer more white pigment onto the surface, notice how instantly it makes the flowers pop. But our process of shaping the flowers doesn't stop here, and once you finish layering white oil pastels, we can return to our coral pigment and we can finally define the center of the flowers. This will immediately make our flowers even more recognizable, more eye-catching. Don't limit yourself by using just one color for your flowers. You can use more different colors to add more versatility and depth to your flowers. For example, you will see me layer some rose ochre and yellow to the flowers too. Just remember not to overthink each your decision, just let your hand and intuition work for you. And once you are happy with your flowers, I think it will be a good time to switch to our background. Previously, we slightly defined the background. We have layered ash blue and grey-green oil pastels, then we blended them out with white oil pastels. And now it's finally time to finish what we started. I will keep on using the same ash blue and grey-green oil pastels, but you are also free to improvise and layer other hues of original background colors to make it even more deep and interesting. Later, as my background will develop, I will definitely use even more additional colors too, like yellow, cerulean blue, yellow-brown. As I layer more background colors, I'm using a medium pressure and same scribing technique that we have used throughout this drawing. I have to say that until now I was never a big fan of the scribing technique, But creating this drawing really helped me rediscover it, and I think it's one of my favorites right now. Notice how with each new layer of the background, the drawing gets more visual contrast and depth, and even more texture. At the same time, the flowers appear to become lighter, more defined and eye-catching. Finally, to keep the drawing in that dreamy and soft tone, we will be using white oil pastels to once again blend and layer over the background pigments. This will give the drawing a soft and ethereal quality and make the colors of flowers and background appear more cohesive and harmonious. So keep layering and blending until you achieve the look you want, and once you are happy with your background, you can add final details for your flowers in the next lesson. Now that our drawing is pretty much finished, it's finally time for my favorite part of the drawing process, which is adding any final touches it needs. The final touches are important because they bring the drawing to life and help it look more cohesive. By adding highlights and shadows here and there, you are creating depth and make the flowers look even better. What I like the most about the final stage is that at this point it's almost impossible to ruin your drawing. You just make it better with each touch of color. And just like that, you got yourself a beautiful, loose and soft floral oil pastel drawing. Not only it hopefully helped you fight your art block, but you also practiced blending with white oil pastels and scribing technique, and finally, you have created a stunning piece of art that you can be proud of.